Let's hit one more, just focused on pressures.
Pressure in the feet.
Yep.
Okay.
Lateral curve, back up into lead, curves away. That was even better.
That was even better.
Let's start this again. Ow now, brown cow. Hi, TJ.
Hey, bro. How you doing?
I'm awesome, man. How are you?
Good.
Good. Dude, we're back outside, maybe one of the last times that we'll be outside here in Colorado.
I don't want to hear that.
I know. Got a pretty fun video here.
Absolutely.
A lot of questions on this one. Mm-hmm. What are we talking about today there, Tej?
Creating space in the golf swing. I think a lot of people struggle with just feeling real bunched up down at impact, like they don't have any room to move, whether that's their arms, their chest, etc.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's it's funny because golfers, you know, we're fortunate enough to work with a lot of players and a lot of golf nerds as well. And one of the things that is always interesting is this saying that, you know, after we start moving and they kind of get into a system that we really like, they go, man, it feels like I have so much room or so much space at the bottom.
You hear that a lot. Yep.
Okay, and that's kind of important too. It's not like we're talking about space up here at the top. We're talking about like the hit area and feeling like we just have room to do stuff down there. Like the arms have like passage, they can move, they can swing. Like I don't feel like I'm like bottled up and like I don't have room to operate down there, which is like a highly unathletic feel.
No, yeah, like feeling all bunched up down here. It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
really?
yeah, exactly. And just it's this again, this idea of space is like massively important. So, again, where does it come from? How do we create these spatial pieces, right? So, let's just start with just a general concept, Tej. If you go ahead and set up for us.
You got it.
The number one spatial piece that we're going to look at here, number one, is the radius that you have just created and set up from your sternum to the club head, like the middle of the club. So the radius is just the middle portion of that circle. It's just this space, like how far away you are.
So you can just kind of visualize a straight line coming right out of your sternum, pointing right to the club head.
Exactly, exactly. So if you just make a backswing for us, let's go ahead and just do that. Okay. Did your sternum get further away or closer to the ball in that move?
A little further away.
A lot further away.
Okay.
Like probably another foot.
So it's moved clearly this way, right?
Yes, exactly. Okay, well, where did that come from?
Interesting.
Okay. So we talk a lot about like this thoracic region and what it does. Again, this is review for those of you that watch our channel a lot, which thank you. But the main purpose of the chest and its movement is we move it laterally, we'll rotate it, and there is in our C and T spine primarily, we've got this thoracic bend, this lateral bend. Okay, so again, this is kind of piggybacking off of like one of the videos that we did very recently, which is this idea of lateral move first. So if I have this space right here away from the golf ball, if I move laterally, just this move, am I getting closer or further away from the ball?
You're getting a little further away from it.
There we go. If I just turned, okay, and we'll talk about proper turn here just in a second, and I'll do this properly. If I turn, did I get further or closer to the ball?
Further away from it.
Okay. So a lot of people, like, if you stack up this lead side, and the visual here is like these lead side joints, like main joint groups, knee complex, hip complex, shoulder complex. There's two ways to turn. And really when we're saying turn, I'm just moving this midline and rotating it away from the target.
Okay, got it.
So I could have a pivot where the pivot is more so in this like right side. And so if I were to turn, I would look like this. Okay, this would be improper because these lead side joints just crashed into this space.
So they all go towards the golf ball in that respect if the pivot's in the right?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Exactly. So what we'll see is this idea that the player will immediately move. You'll see it definitely in the knee and definitely in the shoulder. This just responds. Okay, but it crashes into this space here closer to the golf ball.
Got it.
And now, like, one, there is no lateral move if you're moving that way.
Yeah, I'm all stacked up on this side too.
Exactly.
Right.
So Your sternum may have gone a bit away, a little bit away from the golf ball, but it's not far enough because these lead joints are actually closer to the ball.
Got it.
So to create space late, what would you have to do?
Well, I'm going to have to
Yeah.
jump up out of the way, right?
Yep, which causes this extension move here where you just went with this trail hip.
Uh-huh.
If you go in extension here, which means this hip is coming into this space here,
Got it.
where does your sternum go?
Towards the ball or away from it?
Away from the ball, right. They just work in opposition. So if I move my pelvis forward, so this is just hip extension, this has to go back to keep me just in general balance.
Okay. So I'm creating some space with the sternum, but I'm doing it with this move?
Yes.
And maybe there's some problems with that?
There's a lot of problems with that, right? Yeah. Because the issue with this space feel is, like, if I go into extension here, I no longer have room for my arms to swing underneath my trunk. As soon as I go here, this is where the arms want to swing, and I'm in the way, so guess what? They're out and around. I don't have any room in here. You'll see these guys like that way, where the room between like the handle and their pelvis has really shrunk. So the player experiences this feeling where the arms don't have room. I don't have any space for them to swing across or underneath my trunk or the thoracic. So there's a sequence to this in that we need the sternum in like the early portion of the backswing to really be creating this space, because the pivot is more in the right hip socket, or excuse me, the lead side joints.
Okay.
So the right side, those joints would move this way. There you go. Now, just as the athlete, like if we both have a golf ball right here,
sure.
Okay, getting ready to hit. If I go this way, okay, where did your sternum go relative to the golf ball in that move?
Closer.
Good. Compared to this way.
Further away.
Like, how much more room do you have now?
Yeah, tons.
Yes.
Yep.
And what we'll see, like almost in every single like really high level player that we love their pattern, like Rory, you'll see his lead leg actually go into a bit of extension to start. Like so a bit. It's not a ton. He's not just pushing this. It's because he's moved laterally, so the knee almost hides behind the trail knee. There it is. Yeah, so just this early lateral. Boom. See that? Like this knee just hides.
Got it.
Then from here, as he turns and is recentering, his turn makes his sternum move away, and now as he drops and moves into the lead side, way more flexion. So he's moved this back into this space, but it's no closer than where it started at address. Meaning, when I'm saying I'm saying the sternum isn't any closer.
Okay,
because
so
he's
it's
moved
not
it
like
away.
Not like in transition, Rory's crashing all the way in here. Right? He just, if this is our start point, we move away.
Yep.
And then back to the start point.
Exactly. There you go. Because now from there, like what we're searching for is this idea that as I rotate my T-spine, okay, or my thoracic through the strike, that my arms can get shot out. And the curve, like this whole like low left phase, right? This thought, and like we see this, like the club is low left.
Yeah.
The reason it's low left is because of the curvature in the thoracic. This high exit, okay, kind of a different topic, but it's important for the whole piece here, is if I crash and I'm creating space, this locks down. I'm no longer rotating this.
Yep.
So as I fire the arms, where do they exit?
Way high.
Exactly. Compared to off of it, drop back in. Now as I turn, all I'm doing is letting the energy go out, but I'm not trying to make it go left.
So
it goes left.
That free rotation of the thoracic that creates the low left exit.
Yes.
To really achieve that, you've got to have space to do so. You've got to be in here where now I can freely rotate.
Exactly.
Shoot the arms out.
So a lot of it is just a sequence of stuff. Like if I rotate early, chances are I'm going to crash the lead joints into the golf ball space, and the sternum isn't far enough away to be able to drop back in. Yes.
But if I go lateral early.
And then turn with the pivot being in here. See how this lead knee has stayed away from this space? Like let's do two different movements here. Go ahead and show proper movement. Good. See this knee pretty much the entire time stayed away. Now in transition, watch where it goes. It'll come back into this space. There you go. But your sternum isn't any closer than where it started. Compared to, go ahead and start again. Okay, go ahead and pivot poorly, meaning the pivot's in your trail side, so all this would work into this space. See, this knee immediately crashed? And so now, big pelvic rotation to get that out of there, and then see how that moved the sternum away. So now you created space from the sternum, but you don't have space for the arms to swing freely.
And you want both, right?
We need them both working. Like when people say, oh man, I have space, what they're really saying is the arms have room. They have free passage under the trunk.
Got it.
Rather than if I do this, I no longer have that.
Yep. Totally. Okay.
So there's kind of a lot there. So how do we take this and like just generally digest it?
Sure.
Okay, so to have space, when I say that, we're saying that the arms have free passage. To have space in the hit, we need to move in proper sequence in the load phase.
Okay.
Load phase is from P1 to P5.
Got it.
And generally P5 is just this delivery position. And what we want from there is the idea now that the pivot can be in the trail hip complex and trail shoulder and trail knee complex. So I'd be going lateral, chest rotation or thoracic rotation. Once I feel that go, now I'm just gonna drop. And that dropping gets me landed back up in this. See all this knee flexion? That's where the load, the finish of the load, that's perfect. So from right there, trail, 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 this is all the pivot. And let's go ahead and do this with a step. So if we're here, if we stepped, we'd look like this. There you go.
And that creates space again.
Aha.
Lots of space. Yep.
There you go. And there goes the sternum away. And so what do the arms, hands, and club get to do? Shoot.
Shoot out. Yeah.
It just goes.
Yeah. It's like hard to even get into the ground that way. Like you got so much space there.
You've got room.
Yep.
Yep.
Totally.
Exactly. And for driver, we'll actually see what you just did in certain players.
Totally.
Patrick Reed, lead foot D weights.
Well, you'll definitely see it in long drive patterns too, right? This D weighting going that way.
So what's really important here, if we're going to do that, I can't just drop improperly and be back like most of the pressures in my trail foot. If I'm going to have the pivot back in this like trail hip complex, I had better be up here. Like I've got 70–80% of my pressure up here right now. Because now as this becomes the pivot, whoa, boom, now I'm good.
You can move
like,
away.
And with long drive pattern, that's the lateral move. But what's kind of cool here is we're combining two of these forces together in our minds, because the rotational force, this angular force to shoot out, there's my space so I can do that, also creates the lateral force, the opposing force. So I've got this pressure up in the lead foot. If this is the pivot, rotate, 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 see where my pressure starts to go? Now I'm more like 50-50 in here.
Totally.
So as the lateral starts to work away, and we'll see this in drivers for sure, like long drive pattern, I'm away, away, away. Guess what the club gets to do?
Shoot out.
It shoots in opposition. I'm going that way because of curvature, not because I'm just doing this like Rocky stuff through the strike.
Okay.
I'm up here,
Got it.
turning, see how I'm going away from the target, and it allows this to shoot out.
Because you've got such good thoracic rotation, that moves you away.
Yep.
So it's not like you're just tilting back.
Yes.
Right? It's
So all this talk, the reason this is like such a deep conversation is because this idea or this feeling, this athletic feeling of space for the arms to swing freely is in 3D space.
And that's difficult to visualize sometimes.
Human beings suck at 3D space.
Totally.
We can see 2D
they
so
like
easy.
lines.
Yep. Like this. Oh, he's dropping. I see that. Well, I'm on this plane, 2D, right? As soon as I drop and turn, it's like, okay, well, where did the pelvis really go? Like this math equation starts in our mind. It's like rubbing the top of your head and your stomach in opposite directions at the same time. Two simple feels. It's hard to picture and hard to like execute on.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. So working on this, like what we need from a dynamic perspective is the ability in the transitional phase. So we'll call that from P3 to P5.
Okay.
That the player is working back into this space so that they can get out of that space through the strike, and they're getting out of that space right there because of rotation and the pivot point. There you go, and the golf club could just go whoosh out.
Got it.
Yep. So practicing this, very good thing for players to do just to experience this, is big lateral. You can do it with wedge, Just try it with 7-iron at first, and then you can just kind of tame it down so it feels right. But big lateral move, big away, big drop in for load. So we're huge here. Boom, I'm way up here. It feels like I've almost like dynamically invaded this space so that now this can be the pivot and I can shoot all this out. That's what we want.
So that's the feel, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So if we're just looking at unload phase, it's the pivot that's back here, and you've got all this pressure that's gone into like this space up in here, like we're up there. There you go. So that now this can stay back there, and all those, there you go. And you can see how the golf club would just shoot out. Yeah. Okay, so let's see one that's cruisy.
Okay.
But we got big lateral, big away, kind of into P3.
Got it.
Right? So just show us kind of P3, and it's just going to be lateral away. Good. Now, ideally we're right here, so I'll help you. Okay, so as I'm motoring this up into P5, like through P4 to P5, you just drop back into that space. Good, excellent. Now from there, turn and shoot it. There you go. Okay, let's see one kind of cruised out. Lateral away, drop back in, and then shoot. Beautiful, beautiful. Now when TJ does that, that's really interesting. Did you hit that well?
No.
Was that a hosel?
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's awesome.
Pretty good.
Okay, so this is where you get to diagnose correctly. This is actually kind of fun. So you hit it on the hosel. Did you feel like you shot energy out?
I did.
You did do that. So we need more space, which means that this is the pivot. We need to shoot the pivot back into the trail hit more so we can curve away more. Let's do the same exercise.
More space on this side, right?
Yep, exactly. You can even feel as if, like, because of the space that you're creating, you're going to hit it on the toe on this one. Let's do the same exercise. Let's drop back in. Good. Beautiful.
Much better.
There you go. So again, you're messing with the system in order to be able to feel good through the strike.
Totally.
Let's see one in one motion now.
Sure.
Lateral pivot to move it away, drop back in, pivot to turn it away. Oh. And what's awesome, like, I can see it and you can feel it, how easy it was for the golf club to just go. It just shoots through energy, or through the impact area.
And again, if we're talking like feelings that we're searching for with students, that's one that I'm hunting for, is like the golf club feels free. Just totally free. Like it gets so far out away from you, fully released, all that goodness.
Yep. But we get all the like really good stuff because thoracic rotation is the main phase stabilizer, so it doesn't feel like it's spinning out of there.
Right.
It feels like it easily releases, blah, blah, blah. Okay, final topic on this.
Okay.
And this can help just like kind of sense if I'm moving well or not, just where the pressure is going. Okay, so let's go ahead and just set up together here.
Sure.
And we're gonna set up so that we're like, feels like we're either like on the balls or slightly into the toes to start with. So we're definitely not heel loaded, we're more like balls of the feet, toe bias.
Got it.
Okay, when we go lateral, we're gonna stay out in that ball of the foot. We're not, like, if I rotate right here, I'm gonna go into the heel.
Straight to the heel.
Yep, so I stay out here. Okay. Now, as I curve, I'm gonna go into the arch of the trail foot, and probably 70-ish% that's right here in the arch of the foot. Okay, meaning 70% of my weight here, 30% of my weight here.
Okay.
Okay. Now as I turn and I'm dropping, now I'm gonna work back heavily, like 80% up here into the ball of this foot.
Okay.
So it traced from away into the arch and then goes back up this way.
Yeah, maybe we could show that from here too.
Yep. So it goes away, then curves a bit into the arch, and then back into the meat of this foot.
Got it.
Now from there, that's just the load phase, that shape. Okay, there you go, beautiful. Now from there, as you curve, you're gonna go into the heel and then away, and it curves away that way. There you go. And if you just kept spiraling, you go all the way up into finish. There you go. But see where TJ lands is like on the outer rim of the lead heel. Okay, that's where you're gonna feel pressure move. There you go.
Got it.
Okay? So if you can feel it go directly lateral, then curve and go back up into the lead foot, and then curve away, it's like this figure 8 look, pressure-wise.
Totally.
That's a great way to like, oh, I feel where I'm moving in space.
Cool. Cool.
Okay, let's hit one more just focused on pressures.
Pressure in the feet.
Yep.
Okay.
Lateral curve, back up into lead, curves away. That was even better.
That was even better.
Okay, so the point being, there are 6 ways to Sunday to do this well.
Yep.
And everybody's attracted to different like feels, pictures, whatever. Some people are great at just picturing where the chest complex is working or where the sternum's working, even where their head is working, where the trail hip is working. Like you can focus on different things.
So many focal points, yeah, for
Yes,
sure.
but I think a really great one is just feeling where pressure is moving, which is the doorway then to feeling, oh, I have space.
Yeah.
I've created space.
Totally.
But we got to see it in 3D models. That's why it's a bit of a complex exercise or complex
But
picture.
worth diving into, for sure.
Because once you have it, the athletic sensation is like, dude, like 0 catastrophic misses. Like it feels amazing. You can create speed. It's precise. It's really healthy. Like it just, it's
It goes
everything.
on and on, man.
It goes on and on. It
All
feels
the benefits.
freaking amazing,
That's
right?
probably benefit number 1. It feels incredible.
Exactly, exactly. Work on it, comment below. Let us know what your experience is like with it. We'd love to answer any questions that you have. Flush them out, baby. Turkey. It's almost Thanksgiving.
That was good.